It was a quiet night in London, and everything felt calm, normal, almost too peaceful, like nothing unusual could ever happen here. She was sitting alone in her apartment, scrolling through her phone, completely unaware that something strange was about to begin. Suddenly, her phone lit up in the dark, and a message appeared on the screen from a number she didn't recognize. She looked at it carefully, slightly confused, trying to understand why someone would send such a strange message out of nowhere. The message was simple but unsettling. Check your mirror. And for a moment, she didn't know whether to ignore it or not. She placed the phone aside, trying to act normal, convincing herself it was probably just a prank or a random mistake. But seconds later, the phone lit up again, and another message appeared, this time feeling more direct and slightly disturbing. Her eyes slowly moved toward the mirror across the room, her body still, her breathing slightly heavier than before. For a few seconds, nothing unusual appeared, just the normal reflection of her room, quiet, empty, and completely still. Even then, something didn't feel right, as if her instincts were warning her that something was not what it seemed. She stood up slowly and began walking toward the mirror, each step careful, her eyes fixed on the reflection ahead. Reaching closer, she leaned slightly forward, trying to notice anything unusual hidden inside the reflection of the room. For a brief second, she thought she saw something move behind her reflection, something dark and unclear. She turned around instantly in panic, expecting someone to be there, but the room behind her was completely empty. Her heart started racing as confusion slowly turned into fear, and at that moment, her phone buzzed again. She slowly picked up her phone again, her hands slightly shaking, knowing the next message might explain everything or make things even worse. The message read, "You saw it, didn't you?" And instantly, her heart dropped, because deep down she knew exactly what it meant. She stepped back from the mirror, her breathing getting heavier, her thoughts racing, trying to understand what was real and what wasn't anymore. Quickly, she turned on all the lights in the room, hoping the brightness would somehow make the fear disappear, but it didn't. She checked every corner of the apartment again, the doors, the windows, even under the bed, but everything looked completely normal. Nothing was out of place. Nothing felt different, yet the strange feeling of being watched refused to leave her mind. Her phone buzzed again, and for a moment she didn't want to open it, but curiosity forced her to look once more. The message said, "It's still behind you," and her entire body froze, her eyes widening as fear completely took over her thoughts. For a few seconds, she couldn't move at all, standing completely still, afraid that turning around would reveal something terrifying. Finally, she gathered enough courage and turned around quickly, but once again, the room behind her was completely empty. Now panic started building inside her, because nothing made sense anymore, yet everything felt dangerously real at the same time. Desperate for answers, she opened her phone camera and decided to record everything, hoping to capture something her eyes couldn't see. Holding the phone tightly, she pointed it toward the mirror, her hands slightly shaking as she focused on the reflection. At first, nothing unusual appeared, just the same quiet room and empty reflection, but she kept recording, feeling something was about to happen. Then suddenly, something shifted in the reflection, a dark shape slowly appearing behind her, visible only through the camera screen. Her breath stopped as she stared at the phone, watching the shadow clearly, while in reality the room remained completely empty. The figure wasn't fully clear, but it was there, standing still behind her reflection, silent and motionless. Too scared to move, she kept recording, hoping it would disappear, but the presence remained, making everything feel even more real. Slowly, the shadow moved closer in the reflection, step by step, without making a sound, without appearing in the real room. Her grip loosened, and the phone slipped from her hand, falling to the floor while the recording continued capturing everything. From the floor, the camera still faced the mirror, clearly showing the reflection as the shadow moved even closer behind her. And yet, in the actual room, there was still nothing there, no movement, no sound, just complete silence. She tried to scream, but no sound came out, her body frozen in fear as the reflection showed something impossible. The recording captured the final moment, the shadow reaching toward her in the mirror, while the real world stayed unchanged. And then suddenly, everything stopped. The movement, the presence, the feeling, leaving behind only silence in the room. The next morning, the apartment was found completely empty, with no signs of struggle, no forced entry, nothing unusual. Her phone was still there on the floor, and when the recording was played, it showed something no one could explain. The footage clearly showed the shadow in the mirror, but investigators confirmed that no one else was present in the room. Even more disturbing, the messages were traced back to her own number, sent before she even received them. And to this day, the case remains unsolved, leaving behind one question. If nothing was there, then what was inside the mirror?